Hey y'all, welcome back to the Anytime Anywhere podcast where you're liable to hear anything at any given time with me, your host, Jaleesa'Kayla. Today is September 3rd, September 3rd, 2025, and I wanted to take this time to record a special episode. It doesn't really necessarily have to be special, honestly. um, I'm just considering it special because I'll probably drop this as the first or second episode for one day, probably Wednesday or possibly Saturday. I'm not really sure which day. But as you all know, I'm trying to get more consistent with my drops, and I've pretty much chosen Saturday and Wednesday as the days. Sometimes it might fluctuate, you know what I'm saying? So if you're tuned in and listening and you know, looking forward to a more consistent schedule. I appreciate you, and I'm doing my best. However, like I said, the reason why I'm considering this episode to be a special one is because I'm gonna be dropping two in one day. So again, this will either be dropped on a Wednesday or a Saturday following or after maybe a longer episode. I don't want to make this episode too long. I just want to take some time out because today is Wednesday. So, pardon me, today is Wednesday. For Where You At Wednesday. Right now, I'm in the city, I'm in a local park. Y'all, I'll get into it in my next episode, but or maybe I got into it in the episode previous to this. Like I said, I'm not really sure if I'm going to drop this episode first and then the following episode for the day, or whether this will be the second drop for the day. But either way, y'all, whether you're listening in the past or in the present or in the future, I appreciate you. And today I am in the park. Okay, currently I'm in the park. So if you hear nature sounds mixed with some city sounds, that's why. But I'm in the park using my free will. Today was another day where I said, fuck it, and I'll get into that in another episode. However, the focus for this episode is the fact that I'm using my free will to sit in the park and really just take some time out to appreciate the free will that I have. You know what I'm saying? So many changes and transitions has brought me to this present moment to be sitting in the park on a Wednesday, um, not full of like fear and anxiety, but at peace and in alignment as best as I can be in this moment with, my true calling and the future self I see who's waiting for me to show up. Okay. And with saying that, there's so much freedom and peace that I've been able to experience up until this point, in this very moment. Once upon a time, I could not see myself here. And on my way to the park, I walked all the way to the park from the crib, which is about like maybe a mile. Yeah, probably a mile, give or take. I'll have to look and double back with y'all on that. But yeah, I walked a mile and I stopped to get some water and I saw a newspaper stand, which I haven't seen in a really long time. So I was like, let me grab a paper. And once I got to the park, I sat down and I started reading it, and I pretty much finished the whole paper. Like I said, I haven't done that in a long time. Just being able to use my free will to have a peace of mind and have enough clarity to be able to focus on reading. Now, I did skip around a bit from story to story, but overall, I pretty much read the whole paper. And one thing that caught my attention was this one article about um, September being Suicide Awareness Month. And many of you don't know my story, but you'll soon to, get to know me a little bit more and my journey up until the present moment, whenever you find me, and the things that I've overcome and experienced thus far in my lifetime. And coming across this article really like hit home for me and put me in a place of gratitude because I was once someone who um, heavily battled with thoughts of suicide. There, I said it. I'm just going to be honest. And I feel as though with me building this platform and wanting to voice my opinions and my thoughts and just different parts of me, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity to share with you what the article said and to, kind of share a little bit of my self with y'all when it comes to honoring Suicide Awareness Month. So it says a conversion that could save a life, honoring Suicide Awareness Month. And then y'all, I've come across like things that honored Suicide Awareness Month in the past. However, um, hello. um, yeah, I've come across things that have brought my attention to Suicide Awareness Month, but I haven't really like made it my business to become more familiar with the month because honestly, when it comes to like how can I say it, recognizing certain things that we deal with in life or that certain individuals may deal with in life, like lupus awareness or, breast cancer awareness or even Black History Month. Like sometimes those things can get lost in um, just focusing on them within a month. And then after the month is over, it's back to regular life and, you know, people aren't really focused on it anymore. Um, which is, it happens. We're humans. We have lives. We have daily stressors and things that, take our focus away from. But just the fact that I was able to sit in the park on a Wednesday and read the paper, like, listen, a year ago, even a few months ago, I wanted to be in this space, but parts of me could not see myself doing it. I just wasn't in the headspace. I was trying to survive from moment to moment, let alone realizing that I had the freedom, even with being an entrepreneur and being self employed, as well as being employed by someone else, and having my time heavily, taken up by other things than what I would rather be doing. Like right now, I'm doing what what I would want to be doing on Wednesday. I woke up, I was able to stretch, and I was able to journal. I was able to do some somatic yoga poses, and just take it easy and really tap in with myself before I started moving around. And I used my free will to call out. Like I said, I'll get into that in either the episode before this or the episode after that. So wherever you are in this moment, like I said, just stay aware of where you are and don't get confused. But I just want to take the time to read this insert or this article about Suicide Awareness Month to you all. And like I said, just use my platform to reach those who may be unaware, who weren't, even paying attention to the fact that September was Suicide Awareness Month. Because I know I wasn't. Like I said, I'm gonna be honest. However, every now and then, I again just thank the Most High and just outwardly praise how grateful I am to be in this space and the fact that I did have outside resources and help. But honestly, it was the Most High that got me through. Some people aren't as um I don't want to say they aren't as gifted because I've been through every part of the suicide process, I guess, besides actually committing the act. I've tried to in certain subtle ways, but to actually take it there to the extreme, how some people may think or what some people may consider extreme, like maybe, and warning that this may be triggering. I should have said that in the beginning. Um, and maybe I'll circle back and just put a triggering, um, you know, like a triggering warning at the beginning of this episode. But yeah, this next part may be triggering for some people, so please brace yourself or, click off of this if you're in a vulnerable space and only you know what space you're in. And I need you to be honest with yourself in this moment. You know what I'm saying? But for some people, extreme cases of suicide may be, you know, consuming large amounts of pills or medication that you know will put you in a space that could potentially aid in your demise, or slitting of the wrists, or, forms of cutting, or just self harm in different ways. It looks different for many different people. And like I said, sometimes it's subtle. So your friends and family, the people you work with, the people that you're closest with, the people that you see daily may not know the signs, but you know within yourself what you're battling and dealing with. And nobody's case is more severe or less serious than another. You know what I'm saying? Because life is very challenging for some people. So when I say that I'm grateful that I had outside sources to help me through the process, but at the end of the day, it was really the Most High that helped me overcome the feelings of not wanting to be here anymore, honestly. And there were so many reasons I thought and felt and was living through that said, yeah, it's best for me not to be here. Like, I'm ready to check out and go. Like, seriously. So I'm going to read this insert. Like I said, I don't want this episode to be too long. Um, so it says, a conversion that can save a life, honoring Suicide Awareness Month. September 1st marks the beginning of Suicide Prevention Month. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, about 703,000 people die by suicide every year worldwide. It is important to learn the signs and be prepared to help a loved one that is struggling. What are the signs of suicide thoughts and feelings? Verbal signs: talking about wanting to die, talking about wanting to kill themselves, talking about or feeling like a burden, saying they have no reason to live or expressing hopelessness, mentioning feeling trapped or in unbearable pain. Behavioral signs: withdrawing from friends, family, or activities they once enjoyed, increased use of alcohol or drugs, sleeping too much or too little, giving away possessions or saying goodbye in ways that feel final, searching online for ways to end their life, engaging in recklessness or risky behavior. How can I support someone after they tell me they are struggling? Let them know you're listening. You can say, I'm so glad you're telling me about how much has been going on and how you're feeling. Thank you for sharing this with me. Show your support. Say, I love you no matter what, and we're going to get through this together. Encourage them to keep talking and you really listen. You can say, wow, that situation sounds really difficult. Ask them about changes in their life and how they are coping. An example of this would be, how long have you felt this way? When did these feelings start? Be direct if you suspect they're thinking about suicide. Maybe they haven't mentioned it to you, but you notice some, like I said, subtle changes, or you're really locked in with your person or your people. And like I said, you notice subtle changes, or you just feel some type of void, or, you just sense something. Because again, you're paying attention, you're aware, and you now have the tools and key points, to be able to look out for any possible signs. How long have you can say something like, how long have you felt, how rude. Don't they realize I'm trying to record a podcast? I love when something like that happens because it's like, bro, you're out in public. Like, girl, relax. So you can say something like, how long have you felt this way? When did these feelings start? You can be direct if you suspect they're thinking about suicide. You can ask simply, are you thinking about harming yourself? What can you say if they tell you they're thinking about killing themselves? An example would be, you can say something like, the fact that you're having these thoughts tells me something significant is going on for you right now. The good news is help is out there. I want to help you get connected to resources that can help. Follow their lead and know when to take a break. So, don't be too pushy, but also let them know that you're there and you're serious about being around. You can say something like, "Are you okay with continuing to talk about it?" How to suggest they could benefit from professional help. You can help them connect. Say something like, "I could call your insurance with you, or go online to find a mental health professional or substance use program, or I could sit with you while you do it. We can figure it out together." If they're concerned about privacy, you can say something like, "Most people realize that mental health is an extremely important, valid part of health in general, and we all have various kinds of health issues. People who get support for their mental health are seen as strong, smart, and proactive. If you or someone you know is in crisis, call, text, or chat 988 immediately. Chat available at 988lifeline.org. 988 offers 24/7 judgment-free support for mental health, substance use, and more. Call, text, or chat 988 to reach LGBTQ specialized resources. You can also contact the Trevor Project's 24/7 crisis line via text, chat, or phone and learn more at the Trevor Project. That's TheTrevorProject.org. So, y'all, I really just wanted to share that with y'all. And going back to some key notes in this insert within the paper, and this is like my neighborhood community paper, and like it's some gems in here. So you see what taking the time out to just read the paper and use your free will, like I had no idea this was going to be in this paper, but the higher parts of me said, "Hey, take a paper. You haven't read a paper in a long time. This will give you something to do while you sit at the park and just really feed your brain and get in touch with the parts of you that you used to love." Like for those of you that are from my city, then you're familiar, or not everyone, but some of you may be familiar with the Metro paper. Y'all, when I was a young boy, I used to get that paper and read it on my way to school. I was in high school at the time, so I would read it on my way to school or read it on my way home. Like, of course, for me as a teen, like the horoscopes and things were juicy. I would look at the job section to see if there were any, like, jobs available to me as a teenager, which it was a lot of BS in there, of course. However, it put me in the space of, again, just reading. I used to read a lot. I used to love to read. So getting back into that and just utilizing my free will, you know what I'm saying? Any way, shape, or form. Like, what's wrong with reading? There's nothing wrong with reading. And some of you may point out, some flaws in my reading. Who cares? So what? I just wanted to share that with you. But again, like I said, touching on certain parts of this insert within this paper, for instance, verbal signs. I was someone who, at different stages of my life, when things like took a turn for, in my eyes, the worst, and it just felt unbearable to deal with, like the pain felt unbearable. The people that were closest to me, that I felt safe about expressing those things with, I did let them know, like, hey, and I'm getting a little choked up right now because this is real life, and I'm just grateful. Um, Looking back at where I was to where I am now, I'm like really, really grateful for all the forces, the people, the situations, the assistance that helped me through those rough times, and most importantly, the Most High, Divine Mother and Father, for sending all the troops out, sending out my benevolent ancestors, and sending those other beautiful spirits in human form to assist me and help me through the process. And even when I had nobody around, because there were many times, right, where I had nobody around. And I would say in those moments, I thought to myself that I was pulling myself out. But y'all, there were so many times I got down on my hands and knees. And if I wasn't getting on my hands and knees, I was just pleading and begging with my hands up and out and my heart up and out and upward. To be relieved from that pain, to be delivered from what I was experiencing, you know what I'm saying? To place this spirit and the energy of belonging on my heart, to give me a reason to live. And y'all, I'm getting emotional right now because honestly, me just sitting here talking to y'all about this, I realize it's a part of the purpose. You know, I haven't spoken out a lot about um, my battles in the past with, thoughts of suicide and stuff like that. But there's people in my life, that can attest to it. Not a lot, because I didn't share that with a lot of people. However, those who I did share it with, some people had mixed thoughts about it. Or I got mixed feedback about it, should I say. Of course, the individuals who love you and, care about you, they don't want you to have those thoughts. So they're going to like try to snap you out of, having thoughts about suicide and things of that nature, which is, in their eyes, how they love you. They don't want you to talk about it. Some people don't even want you to bring that up. Some people just say, oh, that's nonsense. Like, please snap out of it. That's selfish. I've been told that I was being selfish by wanting to take myself out of here, and not live anymore. And it took me some time to think or to, process where they were coming from. And in some ways, it's like, yeah, it could be selfish because I would be leaving, loved ones behind to pick up the pieces. And, I didn't really think about how it would affect those individuals who really cared about me, because sometimes when you're having thoughts of suicide, it feels like no one cares, no one understands, you know what I'm saying? And even if you do realize that people care about you and understand, it's still sometimes not enough to prevent those feelings of suicide from emerging and coming about. And it looks different for everyone, right? Um, for me, it was feeling like I had no purpose, feeling like what was the meaning and reasoning behind me experiencing all the traumatic things that I had experienced, right? And for me, at different points in time, it made no fucking sense, y'all. Like no sense at all. Um, just me knowing my own spirit and what I wanted out of life and what I always wanted for humanity. It's like, why would somebody like me with, a heart of gold and with such an empathetic nature, be faced with so many different challenges and have such a rough time in different spaces, y'all? And this is really like I'm sitting here on this bench, really trying to hold back tears, and they're just coming down. Um, but it's real, So verbally, I did express that to some people, and some people were more gentle, like maybe a therapist. I had seen several therapists at different points in my life when those feelings would come on strong and heavy because it went in waves. You know what I'm saying? Um, of me feeling like that. And I know for some people it never stops, and for some people it comes in waves depending on what's going on in your life. And if you feel like you can't get a hold on life and get a grasp on what life means for you and your place in life and the significance of why you exist, it can be difficult sometimes. um so being aware, for those of you who are having those thoughts, just be aware of why you're feeling those thoughts, and experiencing the burden of you know, suicidal emotions and things of that nature, or emotions linked to suicide. And if you're someone who may be noticing the signs in a loved one, just be gentle with them, be easy, you know what I'm saying? And do not try to talk them out of it. Just assist them through and give them support and really try to dig deep and go there with them as to why. For example, ask them about changes in their life and how they're coping. How long have we felt this way? When did these feelings start? To get a broader scope as to why they're even feeling that way, instead of saying, oh, that's selfish, or oh, you need to stop feeling sorry for yourself. I heard that too, when I was experiencing something that no one around me had ever experienced. And I know for a fucking fact that if they were in my shoes, listen, this is not to place this on anyone, but I just know the people that were looking down on me at the times where I was expressing feelings of, having suicidal thoughts and seeking out um, outside help, like wanting to go to therapy and things of that nature. When it was brought to my attention, you know, a lot of people didn't believe in it. So they were just like, you're feeling sorry for yourself and you're insane and blah, 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 and that's not what we do. I know for a fact they would not have been able to survive it. I know for a fact. And if they survived the thoughts, not to say that the thoughts wouldn't still be there, but they would be messed up, pretty messed up mentally, and then that affects your emotional or mental state as well. So I'm just going to say that and put that out there. So just be mindful of how you respond to someone who is expressing, that they're having suicidal thoughts, and be grateful that they feel secure enough and safe enough. They view you as a safe space to open up and share that with, because it can take a lot for some people to express that and, um, be in such a vulnerable state that, yeah, they let you in on what's going on with them. And then, just pay attention to behavioral signs, like it mentioned in the article: overuse of alcohol or drugs, or sleeping too little, too much, not really wanting to integrate with community or be amongst family and friends. I dealt with that as well. Like I said, people who have those thoughts, a lot of the times, not everyone, but many people feel like no one understands. They're trying to process everything, they're trying to make sense of everything, and sometimes that takes going into hermit mode, sometimes that takes going within yourself, and sometimes you can get stuck there. You're shutting out light, you're closing the curtains, you just want to be in darkness. The darkness feels safe, the darkness feels predictable, it feels easier to face versus the light, because the light illuminates what's in the dark, and a lot of times what's in the dark are those heavy deep feelings of suicide. You know what I'm saying? Are those heavy emotions, are those things that we don't know how to face, or we feel like we're not equipped and we don't have the tools to face. So we keep it hidden, we keep it suppressed, and the best way to do that is, again, to be in dark spaces, to not be around people who may see the signs, to not be around your loved ones, because they may notice, hey, something's off about him or her, and they, may want you to get to the root of it. They don't want to see you, going through that. They care about you. So they'll point things out that you may not be ready to face, or you may not know how to face, or, may not even know that's there, but something is wrong. And it's like, oh no, like, you're trying to get me out of this comfortable space that I'm in, and it's only comfortable because change seems really hard, right? Change seems so out of reach, and like something that's not possible for you. But trust me, y'all. Listen, we all go through our things, and no two stories are the same. But when I say from personal experience that I am a miracle, like walking, talking, breathing with you right now, talking to you right now, like it is only by the grace. And I'm not just preaching, like wholeheartedly with everything in me. Like, a lot of people have never even heard me talk like this that know me, but listen, it's always been there, okay? Like, this is just a small smidget of my testimony. Like, I thought I was too far going at one point. You know what I'm saying? And here I am, like, using my free will, my creativity, and finding um part of my purpose in talking to you all. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, like I mentioned in other episodes, shit might not make sense, but it's therapy for me. It's therapeutic for me. It's um proof that I've come a long way, and that the Most High is real, y'all. Listen, if you can't find support anywhere, you have to dig deep within you and know that there's a higher force that has you here right now. There's a reason why you're here, and allow yourself to figure it out. Allow the Most High to come into your life and take over. It takes a lot of sacrifice. Shit, it took a lot of sacrifice for me to even be here right now. Shit, I sacrifice being here right now by calling out. And it's like, is it really a sacrifice? Like, what's more important? My well being and my peace and balance, or hustling up a dollar and making sure that individuals that own a company and work for a company aren't inconvenienced because I need time to myself. Like, no, fuck that. My life was on the line at one point. My life is always on the line, you know. Um, my well-being is always on the line, and that's how I had to start looking at things. And it comes from a place of self-love, you know. um, and a lot of people struggle with that. I was someone who struggled with that, and I'm just in a greater, better space right now. So please tell me, not tell me, but please believe me when I tell you, like, it can get greater for you if you just have to believe. And again, go buy some mustard seeds and look at get a physical view, you know, of what a mustard seed really looks like and how small it really is. Um, you always hear that saying, like, the faith of a mustard seed, and you know, like, what? Listen, I went and got some mustard seeds because I was coming up with a little concoction for a wellness brew, and I really went and actually purchased some mustard seeds for the first time, and I was like, damn, these are tiny. And you're telling me this is only, you know, I only need this much amount of faith to continue to persevere and push on day to day, moment to moment. Like, don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about later on. Just focus on the moment that you're in. And it could be, you know, troubling. It could be tough. It could be challenging. But listen, go buy some mustard seeds. It may sound silly. Get a mojo bag, get something, put it in your pocket. I don't know, raw dog it. Just carry around a mustard seed and see, like, that's all it really takes. That's all you really need from moment to moment to believe that, you know, like I said, you're here for a reason and that your purpose is greater and far beyond what you can even see right now. I couldn't see me actually helping other people when I was, you know, experiencing suicide. I couldn't see that my trials and tribulations were only building me up to be able to sit here and talk to you right now. And for some of you, it will be in person where I'll be able to connect with you and really share my process and how I'm continuing to process those times where I had suicidal thoughts. Like I said, right now, I'm in a state of gratitude um, because it's proof that, like I said, the Most High is real and that my purpose is far beyond what I could even fathom. You know, at one point I thought I was just here to please other people and be a bridge to help others live a better life, and that is true. I'm doing that within this moment. However, um, I had to learn and believe that my purpose first was for me. You know what I'm saying? And that um, it was ordained by the Most High. It wasn't how I saw fit for helping others, like being a people pleaser, you know, giving people all of my resources and just emptying my bank account and my personal energy, my spiritual energy, and giving to others till I had nothing left and I was depleted. And then I'm left with, like, I'm giving so much, but I don't feel fulfilled with how I'm giving and how I've gave myself. And you know, the things that I went through that just again left me with nothing. Like, it's like, damn, I don't feel full. Like, you know, I'm giving so much, I'm doing so much. I'm living in a way that I thought was in alignment, but it's like, no, no, that's not the way. This is why you feel depleted. This is why you've been stripped of these things. This is why you're going through these, you know, traumatizing experiences to come out on the other side to say, hey, like, listen, to all of you out there who may be experiencing some deep dark shit right now, you know, it's just a moment. It's just a time if you allow it to be. It's a part of your testimony, you know. And I'm not the best person to explain it, to express it. Again, I'm still processing a lot of things, but in this moment, I can tell you that help is out there. There are people who understand you. There are people who care. It may not be in your immediate circle. You may have to go beyond the people you see and the people that know you, the people that you grew up with, the people that, you know, you've been friends with, and seek outside sources. Seek help from those who won't be biased. Seek help and outside sources for people who have been ordained and who are placed in these spaces to actually help, you know, who actually have the mental clarity, who actually have the emotional intelligence, who actually have the resources and can point you in the right directions to get help, whether it's free, whether you have to, pay a little out of pocket, whatever. The resources out there. I just read to y'all 988lifeline.org. You know what I'm saying? And you can call, text, or chat 988 immediately. Okay? Immediately. I'll text the line, before, just to have somebody to talk to, just to vent. Um, in moments where I felt like, oh, this is too heavy, this is too much, you know, this is way too much for me. Listen, the resources are out there. Don't feel like you're doing something wrong. Don't feel like you're going against the grain by seeking out help. Don't feel like you're so different because you're having these feelings. Trust me, the thoughts and feelings of suicide are more common, unfortunately, than we like to think, because life can be tough for everyone. You know what I'm saying? But how long have I been going? Oh my gosh! I said I didn't want this episode to be long, but you can't rush such a topic as this. And I haven't even begun to say all there is to say about it, but I will leave you with that. And um, yeah, reach out, seek out help from any local, depending on what city and state you're in, local resources. There's local resources everywhere. Like 988lifeline.org is accessible no matter where you are. I'm pretty sure in the U.S. Um, Again, they even have resources connected to LGBTQ plus, as well as the Trevor's Project. Okay, and that website is thetrevorproject.org as well. Like, please, I am begging you. Okay, I'm not too proud to beg. I am begging you to seek out help. I'm begging you to talk to a loved one to let them know how you feel. And hey, if it doesn't go well, at least you tried. And now that means that you need to seek out help from individuals and through resources where these people are actually trained to assist you, where these people have, like I said, the capacity to help you, and you are not a burden. That's the key. Please believe and know you are not a burden. Your feelings are not burdens. Your emotions are not burdens. I was someone who grew up feeling like my needs were burdens. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the people pleasing and learning how to deal with things on your own and being hyper independent can come from. If you're someone who can connect with that, please believe and know that you are not a burden, okay? You were placed here by the Most High. You are not a burden. You've been placed here to be a catalyst, to be a help, to be an aid, to be a gift to someone else, to be a testimony, to be an example of what true love and what miracles look like, okay? You are part of the greater like good. You're part of prosperity. You're part of like so much that I can't even put into words, right? Maybe it's because my vocabulary isn't as vast as it could be, but that's okay. That's why you grab a paper on the humbug and read. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So I guess this is gonna be like a good 40 minute. I wasn't trying to make it too long, but hey, again, I just had to speak, and a lot of it is coming from up above, from the Most High, from the higher parts of me. So I just want to say thank you for those of you who took the time out to listen to this episode, who are curious about this episode, who, if you're someone, like I said, who isn't experiencing thoughts of suicide, but you may see something in someone else, or be noticing certain patterns in a loved one, or even if you don't have anyone around you who's experiencing that, but now you have more knowledge about suicide awareness, and the fact that September Suicide Awareness Month spread that information and just put it out there. You never know who may look at a post or may read a comment of yours somewhere, and they may have really needed it in that moment, and you were a part of putting that information out there. So be a part of the answer and a part of um, making society or helping society to be whole and be better in a collective way. And put yourself first. You know what I'm saying? Leave in the comments anything that stuck out to you in this episode, anything that was new that you learned, or any feelings that you may be having, or any thoughts or ideas surrounding suicide. You know what I'm saying? If you're expressing, don't be afraid to express how you're feeling in this moment. Don't be afraid to pass on some kind words to someone in the comment section, whether there's people in the comment section or not. Just leave a nice um, genuine comment for someone who may pass by in the near future and who may need it. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely share. If you don't even like or comment, definitely share this episode so that the right ears can hear it and it can touch the souls of those who need it. Um, And if you do nothing else after that, because sometimes we can feel like taking a break or taking a moment to tend to ourselves can be a burden, or we may feel irresponsible because we're not like in a hustle and bustle state, and we're not like working really hard and using our free will to please others and tend to others. We're taking the time to tune in with ourselves and just relax. That's what life is about. You're owed that. You're due that. You can do that. It's okay. You are not a burden. Don't feel guilty. You know what I'm saying? Use that time. Use this time. If you don't do anything else with your day, you can lay in bed all day, eat bonbons, scratch the bottom of your foot, scratch under your underarms, and just look at the ceiling. But with all of that, and with no matter how you spend the rest of your day, at best, remember to love yourself always and always. And please know, I'm going to say it once again, that you are not a burden. You are meant for so much greater, and it is available to you. Okay? Trust me, y'all. I made you sound like a regular old Joe Schmo. Yeah. I don't even know what that was. I was trying to come up with a feminine version of Joe Schmo. Um, but trust me when I tell you, without telling you everything that I've been through, that once upon a time, me sitting here and talking, expressing myself self verbally in the way that I am right now in this present moment, couldn't even fathom it, couldn't even see it, couldn't even see past the present moment where I was in a dark, cold basement, trying to figure out how I could take my own life without it, being easy on my family and my loved ones and not being painful for me, how can I take myself out of here? Am I going to go hide under a rock forever? Now I got to find a rock. Which rock? You know, wasting away felt so like assuring and calming to my spirit at one point. To now, I can't even imagine not diving and, experiencing the joy in every moment day to day. And not to say that, challenges don't come up, because that would be false. Of course they do, but um I've been able to harness tools, and my connection with the most high has grown so much over time that, I can like defeat those feelings, and not from a place of um burying them. I sit with them and give attention to them. However, it's not from a space of lack, or it's not from a space of scarcity where I'm scared of those feelings and I allow those feelings to control me. I reason with them, and I really sit with them and dig deep as to where they're coming from and why I may be feeling that way, and give myself permission to roll with it, but know that, okay, this is not the end for you. Not by a long shot, kiddo. You know, there's so much more life to live, so much more to do. So yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. But like I said, love yourself always and always, and know that I care. Please reach out, email me, and I'll respond with reason, with love, with compassion, and make room for you as my free will seems fit. And right now, I think I'm gonna sit here a little bit more in the park. I'm watching this little kid walk around in the grass with two sticks. So just like, oh, and the mom is like over far away by yonder, like just watching her baby. It's fascinating to see because she's like far enough to where the baby is like, um, the baby could panic and be like, oh my gosh, mommy's not around. However, he's just in his own little world with his sticks, looking at the ground, digging, being curious, being adventurous. And the mom is like over in the tuck, still watchful, but allowing the baby to express and partake in his independence. And I love that. That says a lot right now. Even me thinking about my connection with the Most High, it's like, yeah, Most High is always there to assist and, you know, um, like a watchful parent. I'm covered, I'm safe. You are covered, you are safe, you are protected, you are loved. However, use your free will to get the assistance that you need. Call in what you need and don't be ashamed of it or fearful of it, or feel like you're not worthy or feel like there won't be people who can meet your needs. Again, help is out there. And I'm leaving for real this time, y'all. I'm leaving for real. I'm gonna do a couple laps around the park and continue on with my day. But I feel so grateful that I was able to start my day in this way, and just have this moment in time and space. Thank you, Most High. And thank you for listening and sharing yourself with me. And until next time, love yourself always and always. And I'll see you in my next episode. Bye. Mwah.